Okay, everyone, we'll start seated and just find an easy, comfortable position, either cross-legged on a few blankets or a bolster. If you would like to sit in hero pose with the block, that's another option as well. But just find your way into your seat. And I thought we would begin by moving through the spine, and then we'll do some breath work. Okay. So just take a moment, find your pelvis, rock it forward and back, side to side. Maybe even bring in some hip circles. So just rolling forward to the side. Hands can be on the knees for some stability. We'll just rock it out to the other side. So right and left, just bring some movement into the low body, into the hips. And then notice as you're shifting from side to side how the spine already just moves right into flexion and extension. So maybe there's that tuck to the pelvis, chin to chest, and then the opening of the heart space, the shoulders draw back. So just see where the spine wants to go, shifting through the hips. The weight can be forward and back, right and left. And then we'll come to center, roll the shoulders back and down. Extend the arms out. You can reach through the fingertips and just begin to circle out through the wrists. So wrist circles in one direction and then the other. And then we'll slowly reach those fingers up towards the ceiling. You can allow the gaze to follow or where the wall meets the ceiling. Just reach up, feel the lift in the side body. And then exhale and lower the arms. See if the movement wants to follow the breath. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, arms can lower. We'll take it to the sides. So reaching up towards the ceiling and then allowing the right hand to fall down towards the mat as you reach over with the left arm. Inhale, come back through center and then stretch it out again, reaching that left arm over towards the right. Breathing into the whole left side of the body. Inhale, coming up. And switch it out. So left hand to the mat, reaching up overhead with the right hand. And just feeling that stretch through the whole side body. You can come back up through center and then reach it out again. Inhale, both hands up through center. Just reaching through the fingers. We'll take our twist here on the exhale. So the left hand will come to the right knee. And you can just walk the right hand behind. Perhaps the gaze will follow over that right shoulder. Just take a gentle seated twist. A few rounds of breath here. It's like a squeeze out to your day. Inhale, both arms back up through center. Take your reach here. And then exhale, twist it out to the left. Right hand to the left knee. Walking back with that left hand. See if the gaze will follow just beyond that left shoulder. Holding on to the left knee with the right hand for some steadiness. A few breaths here, in and out. Just ringing out the day. And then we'll inhale both arms back up. Reach through the fingers. And then from here, we'll press the palms together. Bring them down towards the heart space. If it feels safe and comfortable, you can allow the eyes to close and just soften the muscles of the face. And press the hands together. See what parts connect. So right to left, fingertip pads. Perhaps that large pad of the thumb. The smaller finger. Line along the hand. Few rounds of breath here. And then if you like, one hand to the upper chest, one hand to the lower belly. You can begin to feel the breath move through the body. So there's no force here. We're just easing in to our natural flow of breath. Inhale, followed by exhale. So I thought we would begin with some pranayama for tonight. So just moving that energy around. And alternate nostril breath is the one that's calling, but I thought before we engage in that, we would break down alternate nostril breath. So when we think about the right side and the left side, in yoga philosophy, we have the right side, the Pingala, warming, connected to the sun. And the left side is the Ida, cooling and connected to the moon. So just some easeful breaths here. And I thought we would take some time to breathe solely through the right nostril for a few rounds. That is called Surya Bhedana, so sun awakening. And then we'll shift over to the left side for a few rounds of breathing solely through the left nostril. And that is called Chandra Bhedan, moon awakening. So from here, we can just release the hands to the knees. Just roll the shoulders back, adjust your seat. If you've chosen a seat that you would like to change at any time, that's always an option. So just take a moment here. And when we think about warming and cooling, I also want to just bring your attention to the quality of feelings and emotions. So when we have the energy of feeling sluggish or tired, the Surya Bhedana is very helpful for increasing energy. And then on the opposite spectrum, when we have some irritable feelings or frustration, we can work through Chandra Bhedan, which is cooling. So not just so oriented to temperature. All right, so to begin, we'll bring the right hand up towards the face. A couple fingers can rest on the center of the forehead. And then we'll just take a couple rounds of breath through both nostrils and just feel the ease of the pull of the breath. Into the back of the throat, the upper chest, the low belly, just feeling that fullness in the body, and then exhale long and slow. And we'll take any combination of fingers that feel comfortable to you and just close off the left nostril. So we'll breathe in through the right and exhale right. Breathe in through the right and exhale right. Two more times here, inhaling right. Exhale right. Inhale right. And exhale right. You can release the hand down towards the knee. Release the breath completely. Take a round of breath through both nostrils. Exhale long and slow. Bring the right hand back up towards the face. A couple fingers can rest on the center of the forehead. And this time we'll close off the right nostril with the right thumb. So gently closing off, right nostril, inhale left. And exhale left. Inhale left. Exhale left. Inhale left. Exhale left. Last round here, inhaling left. and exhale left. You can release the hand, release the rest of the breath. Take a round of breath through both nostrils. Again, just feel that freedom of breath pull into the body. Exhale long and slow. And then we'll bring all of that together with Nadi Shodhana, alternate nostril breathing. So bringing in some calm and some balance, right to left to right. So again, the right hand will come up towards the face, press the fingers towards the center of the forehead. Take a round of breath through both nostrils. Exhale long and slow. We'll take a few rounds here. So closing off the right nostril, we'll inhale left. Close left and exhale right. Inhale right. Close right and exhale left. Inhale left. Close left, exhale right. Inhale right. Close right and exhale left. Inhale left. Close left and exhale right. Inhale right. Close right and exhale left. Release the right hand. See if you can hold the breath out of the body. Just take a moment and see if you can exhale a little bit more. When you're ready, very easily inhale through both nostrils. Slowly, like you're sipping on a straw, inhaling again. Rib cage into low belly. Maybe one more full breath. Hold at the top. And exhale long and slow. Drop the chin towards the chest. Bring movement into the body, however it is calling to you. Perhaps some spinal flexions and extensions. Maybe some hip circles. Shifting to the right and the left. Just breathing in and out. Coming back to your rhythm of breathing, your steadiness, and the breath that will carry you through the practice. So slow flow. We will move listening to the language of the body. So that means moving with comfort, guided by breath. And just because I'm offering certain shapes and suggestions and stretches doesn't mean you can't explore each one on your own. So we'll take a few more rounds here, finding your own rhythm of breathing. If the eyes were closed, you can allow them to flutter open. And then we will all meet with hands and knees and find any padding for the knees that is needed. So just pressing into the fingertip pads, the large pad of the thumb. Just begin with your rock backs. So shifting forward and back, opening through the shoulders and the hips. See if you can feel the weight shift from right to left, tops of the feet. Slight flexion in the elbows. Rolling the shoulders back and down. See if you want to come into full extension here by lifting the gaze, opening through the heart space. Breath in. Exhale, tucking the pelvis, hanging the head heavy, and then shaking your head yes or no. Just releasing any tension there in the head and the neck and the upper back. Shifting it out from side to side. Maybe a few more rounds here of inhale and exhale. We'll move into neutral spine here, hands and knees, and we'll just focus our attention on the palms here. So open up the space between the fingers, and we're just going to press into the fingertip pads and lift the palms up. So just feel the stretch through the fingers, lifting and lowering, really the wrists and the palms here. Just feel the stretch through the backs of the forearms. The thumbs may be down. Sometimes for me, they float up a bit. Just a few palm raises. And then come on down onto the right forearm and then the left forearm. And we're just going to circle it out here. So shifting to the side. Forward and back. And then bringing the hands back so they're somewhat near the shoulders. We'll realign the knees. Bring that right knee towards the right elbow. And then press the sole of the right foot up towards the ceiling. So we're as if we're pressing with the sole of the foot like a foot press towards the ceiling. So this action begins with the knee flexed. You should feel the stretch through the front of that right hip, maybe through the top of the right leg. So just lifting and lowering, but staying flexed with that right knee. Sole of the right foot parallel to the ceiling. So active quality here through the low body. You can adjust the tempo. That feels good for you. And then we'll switch it out to the other side. So right knee comes down. Maybe you come onto the forearms and circle it out. So whenever we do work from right to left, it's always nice to find some centering. Stabilize through the right side. Left knee comes in. And then as we kick the sole of the left foot up towards the ceiling, we may want to readjust that right side. So just find the foot presses here. So there's that hinge in the left hip, just lifting and lowering, activating through the back of the spine, of course the hips and the glutes as well. So adjust your tempo here. And then lowering down with that left knee. Okay, so just taking the knees a little bit wider here. Hip circles. You may want to counter stretch through the top of the hand here. So pressing down through the top of the hand, curling the fingers in towards center palm. Feel the stretch in the front of the forearm this time. Right and then left. And then we'll take an activation through the upper body. So still in hands and knees. From here, we're going to bring nose to mat. So we will do some half push-ups, but what I'd like to do is just open your awareness to changing up the alignment. I know in yoga that we talk a lot about, feet underneath knees and knees underneath hips and hands underneath shoulders, but with conscious intention, we can switch that up. So let's bring the left hand towards the upper left corner of the mat, and we'll bring that right hand, again, just sort of as a guide underneath the right shoulder. And we're going to flex through the elbows. So roll the shoulders back and down. We're just going to bring the nose to the mat. So the elbows can bend and then push the mat away. So coming down, nose to mat, and then pushing the mat away. So with this altered alignment, the hands, just notice how that left arm feels when it's just slightly above the shoulder. And then we'll switch it out. So left hand towards the left shoulder, and then the right hand will come towards the upper right corner. of your mat. So altered alignment here, nose to mat. Find your flexion in the elbows. Body is breathing. Pressing down through the tops of the feet, or you may want curled toes. 1 or 2 more rounds here, and then we will bring the hands a little bit wider, so at the width of your yoga mat, maybe even off your yoga mat. Nose to mat here. Push the mat away. Breathing in and breathing out. 1 more round. And then from here, we'll just walk the hands forward through center and then bring the head between the arms. The forehead may rest on the mat. If not, just shake your head yes or no. Breathing in through the back of the heart here. Stretching through the sides of the body. And then sliding the hands back towards the shoulders. Okay, so we'll move from hands and knees position into some low lunges, and we'll do some stretches along the way. So still in that hands and knees position, we're going to bring that right knee towards the right elbow and then extend the right leg back. So we have this nice elongated right side of the body. So you can shift forward, shift back. You may want to bring some circles in with that right hip by bending into that right knee. So just circling out and change the direction. Think about the size of the circles. And then from here, we'll extend that right leg back. Take your gaze down and see if you can press the right great toes to the lower left corner of your mat. This is a nice stretch through the back of that right leg. So the toe is pressed down, but the right heel is lifted. With the upper body, you can push the mat away and then realign this left foot. You can walk that left hand towards the left shoulder. See if you want to dangle that right arm, or maybe bring the right hand to the right hip. So just finding this opening through the right side of the body, stabilized through the left side. You can keep that right great toe down in this sort of springing fashion, or you can pop up that right foot. Circle out through the ankle, maybe opening through this right arm as well. So just some options and some add-ons. Let the breath carry you. Hands to the hips, slow release. Right foot down. And we're back in our hands and knees pose. Okay. And then we will take that whole thing to the other side. So left knee in, left leg long. Make any adjustments with the right side that will be supporting you, and then bring in some hip circles. And change directions. Just draw the shape of the circle as large or as small as you like. And with that fully extended left leg, we'll take our gaze down and then drop that left foot to the lower right corner of your mat. So just pedal press there. Left heel is lifted. Just enjoy the stretch through the back of the left leg. And then just realign that right foot. So you're pressing down. Bring the right hand towards the shoulder. Just dangle the left arm, circle out through the wrist. And we're open through the left side of the body. maybe just with that left hand to the left hip. There's always this moment where you can sort of spring off with that left toe, but find control, pressing down through the top of the right foot if you're lifting through the left. And then extend the hand if that feels good. So supported half moon, front body, back body, center line of the body. Breathing through fingers, breathing through toes. Find a lift in the spine, and then lower the hands in the left foot, and then you bring yourself back to hands and knees. So any counter stretches that might have felt good just a few moments ago, you may want to repeat. And then I always like to move through lunges from this position. And I also really enjoy the stretch within gate pose. So right knee in towards the right elbow, and then we'll extend that right knee out to the side, and then extend that whole right leg out to the side. And you can bring the right foot down, coming up onto tented fingers, might be able to give yourself a little bit more space to rock forward and back. And just within this movement, you can walk the hands towards the right foot, hang the head heavy, and just notice where the sensation is on the right leg for you. Guide your breath there. Slow flow is all about the in-between moments. So tented fingers walk through center, bending through this right knee, and then we can press through the heel and then the toe, and just slowly walking this right foot up between the hands. So just another way to get in to our low lunge. Blocks are great here. So take your time to find your props close by, all within reach, and just flex and extend. So just notice where the weight wants to shift more. Are the hands really pressing into the blocks? Are you stabilizing through the back body? See if you can find that sweet spot where there's no pressure on any of the smaller joints. And then begin to walk this right foot towards the right side of the mat. You can bring the block to the inside. And this just might be enough of a change within your lunge. Some of us may stack these blocks and come down onto the forearms, or bring the forearms all the way to the mat. So low lunge in these longer held poses, sometimes called dragon lunge. And this is resting dragon. So try to release through the head and neck. Sometimes when we're activated and moving through the low body and being guided, of course, we tend to hold tension and stress in the head and neck. So find a pause here with your breath. You can stay right where you are, or we can move into winged dragon, and that's just opening up within the hip and the knee into what we call an external rotation. So moving that hip and knee away from the center line of the body. So the great toe side of that right foot may come up, the inner right heel may come up. Just notice if that's a stretch that feels good. If not, come on right back to resting dragon. A few rounds of breath here. And then planting the foot back down, shifting the weight onto the left side of the forearm. We can adjust ourselves to slowly come back up. I like to bring a block to the outside of the right foot. And then use the blocks as extensions of my arms to walk the foot back towards the center line of my body. From here, you can roll the shoulders back, extend the left arm. And slowly we're going to open to the left. So just bringing in a twist to one side, and then we'll bring the twist into the other side. Left hand to the block, right hand will reach this time. And then take your twist to the right. Gaze can be up or towards the wall. Just twisting it out from side to side. Again, ringing out your day. So hands back to the blocks. You can walk the blocks towards the pelvis, towards the knees, and just extend that right leg into a hamstring stretch. So the back of the right leg can feel sensation, and the toes of the right foot lifted up towards the ceiling. And we'll plant that right foot down. We'll walk the hands forward with the blocks and just set them aside. So we're ready for the other side. Hands to the inside of that right foot and just come out the same way that you came in by walking that right foot. So great toe and heel, and then maybe stretching through that elongated gate stretch. Maybe it would feel good to walk the hands towards the right foot again. It's a great wraparound stretch. Kind of starts at the ankle, the calf, tucks underneath the knee, and then the inner thigh. So see where the sensation is for you. And then keep going with that right foot to meet the left. Again, hip circles. Coming down onto the forearms. Moving through center before we shift it out onto the left side. So just listening again to the language of your body. How does your body want to move? And keep the breath flowing through. Top of that right foot will press down. Left knee can come in this time. And then extend that left leg. You can bring in some circles. That left knee extends out to the side. And then we know that we're going to extend that whole left leg. I need to adjust my body on the mat. And plant that left foot down. So bending into the left knee and then straightening that left leg kind of helps the alignment of the left foot. You can walk your hands over, tented fingers. That small toe side may be planted down or slightly lifted. And then walking that left foot between the hands. So I like to give a little space between these transitions. These classes can be filled with so much verbal guidance. But it's nice to listen to how you want to move and feel as well. So using the blocks as extensions of the arms, just shifting into your low lunge, seeing how it feels into the hip and the knee. Taking that block to the inside of the left foot, walking the left foot to the side of your mat, stacking your blocks if that felt good. Forearms down, releasing head and neck, just shaking the head, yes and no. Breathing into the back body. You can stay right here in resting dragon, or we can move into that winged dragon by opening up the hip and the knee on the left side. Great toe lifts, inner left heel lifts. You can roll back onto that left foot. Shift the weight onto the right forearm, and then just stacking up, coming back up. So I always like to kind of move the props a little bit here. Walk that left foot back in line. And we'll keep that left hand down. Reach with the right arm forward. Breathe in. Exhale, take your twist to the right. It's a nice open twist here. Pressing the breath out of the body. Breathing in again. Releasing that right hand back down towards the prop. This time the left arm will reach forward. And then take your twist to the left. So gaze can be up or to the side of the wall. Just take one full round of breath. And then release. Walking the hands and the blocks back towards the knees, lifting up through the left toes, and then stretching it out through the back of the left leg. So in order to find release through the back of the right leg, there needs to be some strength and stability, what we call just that solid foundation, something that we can feel confident in, which is that right foot, back of the body, hands to blocks, whatever is there to ground you. And then rolling back onto that left foot, walking the blocks forward, and then just shifting that left foot out the way that we came in. Maybe taking a pause with that left leg extended, shifting forward and back, walking the hands to the left foot. Bending into the left knee, and then circling that left foot back. So we're still here in hands and knees pose. I think it's time for a downward dog, so we'll curl our toes under. I always like to transition, right? Take time. So as if you're pushing the mat away, curl the toes under, press the hands into the mat, push that mat away, and then see if you can just hover the knees. So the low legs are parallel to the mat, and then you can go the rest of the way. Hips lift, head and neck slide through the arms. Think about widening the space between the fingers, and then just begin to walk in place. So right leg and left leg. Take your feet wider. Just walking gently in place. Inhale, coming all the way up onto the tiptoes. Heels come down. Just the direction there. They may not touch the mat, that's okay. Shift the weight from side to side, maybe even drawing circles with the torso, right to left, left to right. With the feet slightly wider, the small toe can kind of line up with the edge of your yoga mat. You can walk the hands towards the feet and then just bring a bend in the knees. You can just shift it out side to side. So as if we're coming into a yogic squat, or I should say we are coming into a yogic squat. You can lift the heels if you need to. This will be a moving squat. So just shifting it out from side to side. And we'll add a twist too. See if you can connect with different aspects of the feet. So the great toe, the small toe, the inner heel, the outer heel, and maybe even lift up a little bit. So the toes can lift and the heels press. And then the heel lifts and the toes press. Left hand can come just between that center line of the spine, and then see if you can reach up with the right hand. Gaze can follow. Switch it out. Right hand underneath the gaze, left hand up. Right to left, left to right. And then we'll walk the hands forward again, lifting up through the hips, stepping the feet back in line, back in our traditional downward dog. Continue to walk in place if that feels good for you, or just press the toes into the mat, extend through the heels. Shake your head yes or no. From here, we're just going to slide right into a high plank pose. The knees can certainly be down. And then we're just exhaling and coming back into downward dog. So inhale, shifting forward, whole body parallel to the mat. The knees can come down as needed. Push the mat away, exhale, downward dog. Slowly unraveling through the feet, sliding right into your high plank pose. Knees come down, soften through the tops of the feet. You can come all the way down into your 8-point pose. Belly to mat. I just need to move a couple props, but just rest your head in your forearms and connect to your breath. So it's good to change positions in the body and then have some time with intentional breathing there. So just notice the differences when the belly is down. You have the weight of the body against the inhale. And then once you fill up, take your time exhaling, long and slow. So reconnecting to the rhythm of our breath. And then from here, we'll bring the hands to roughly about the edges of our yoga mat. And tuck the chin and bring the forehead to the mat. So basically, Cobra pose is what we're leading towards, but we are going to change up the alignment with the hands. So as we did earlier, we altered the hand position with our half push-ups. So we're going to do the same with our mini cobras. So let's take the right hand to the upper right corner of the mat. The left hand can be down by the ribs or the shoulder. We're just going to inhale, lift the gaze. Push the hands into the mat. See if you can lift the rib cage. Gaze is down just at the edge of your mat or towards the floor, and then you're going to lower. Take that 2 more times. So inhale, we're lifting. Exhale and lowering. Inhale, lift. Exhale and lower. And once you're down here, we're just changing the position of the hands. So left hand to the upper left corner of the mat, right hand towards the right shoulder. Inhale, find your lift with your gaze, your rib cage lifts, slight flexion in the elbows, lowering, lifting, and lowering. So we're not really concerned about symmetry here. Clearly the right elbow is more bent than the left. We'll take it 1 more time. And then we come down, forehead to mat, tuck the chin. And then I always like to teach this. It's more of like a tarantula pose, tented fingers here. Hands are off your mat. So it's very similar to a cobra, but we just have more mobility in the shoulders. So just think about rolling the shoulders back and down, really pressing into the large pads of the fingers. Inhale, lifting your gaze. Finding that opening in the spine. We're going to hold here. So exhale. Inhale. And exhale, we can lower. Take a moment with your breath. Flex the knees, circle out through the ankles. Shift the feet from side to side. This action just engages through the hips. We know we're going to be pushing back up, so we'll find table pose and then downward dog pose again. So set up yourself. Pushing the mat away, knees can stay down, maybe even finding some hinging through the hips and the shoulders, some hip circles. And then take a moment to curl the toes underneath, finding strength and activation there. Push the mat away. You may want to hover the knees and then lift the hips, head and neck through the arms. Pedal press it out. Going to open up the stance of the feet. And then slowly we'll walk the feet towards the hands. We'll stay down, so head below the heart. Find all four corners of the feet and just shift out from side to side. It's nice to walk the hands all the way to the right side. And then through center, walk the hands to the left. And then dangling the arm, we're just going to roll up. So just spinal rolling here. Pressing into the feet, keep the knees bent. We're going to roll up. Shoulders back, head and neck lift, and then we're going to roll down. So chin to chest, flexing that whole spine forward, dangling the arm, knees slightly bent. And then unraveling to stand. Slow movements. And once you rise up, you can circle out through the wrists. Take a sip of water. Make any adjustments in your space. And we'll meet in mountain pose. So rolling the shoulders back, extending the arms in a T position. Pointing the fingers down towards the floor. And then pointing the fingers up towards the ceiling. So just feeling the strength in the arms with these actions. Opening up the palms, bringing the arms all the way up overhead, pressing the palms together. Exhale, right arm down, left arm reaches over towards the right side. Inhale, bringing that right arm to meet the left, so coming back through center, and then left arm down, reaching that right arm over towards the left. Inhaling, left arm comes up, meets the hand, so reaching up. Gaze might want to lift, and then slowly lowering the arms here. Okay, so from here, I'm going to open up the feet wider than the hips. The hands can be on the hips. We're just going to rock forward and back. You want to lift the heels slightly, and then the toes. Five-pointed star. Take a moment, close your eyes. Breathe in through the fingers. Breathe in along the arms into the heart space. And then exhale down through the feet into the earth. It's a warm day. These standing poses may build a little bit more heat. But we'll allow the breath to bring in that quality of cooling and calm. So lowering the arms, allowing the eyes to open. We're going to point the toes out and bring the heels in slightly. And then we're just bending in side to side. So we're coming into standing stirrup pose. A lot of leg work tonight, squats in different various positions. Okay, so standing stirrup pose. Just take a moment with the pelvis, just tuck the pelvis slightly. Roll the shoulders back, arms out. And then this time we can bend the elbows. So this is our traditional position here. The palms can face each other. And then as the palms face each other, we can sort of move with the breath and coordinate this action of palms pressing and then arms opening. Palms pressing, maybe the forearms press as well. And then we find that beautiful opening, squeezing the shoulder blades together. Maybe the breath will lead this action. So keeping the upper body busy, distracted from the tension that we're holding in the lower body. Holding here on the opening. Hands to hips. Slowly shifting from side to side and coming into standing. Okay, so we're still in this wide leg position. So I thought we'd move from 5-pointed star into our warrior 2 flow. So just direct the left toes to the shorter side of your mat and then bring that flexion into the left knee. It's nice to have your blocks accessible for these next couple standing poses. So warrior 2 position, we know the feet are down, all 4 corners of the feet. So find a position where you feel nice and strong and stable. And then from there we can lift the arms. So reach up through the spine, maybe the gaze will follow, and then we can come into that traditional position with the hands and the arms extended parallel to the floor. Gaze just beyond the fingers, and we'll move through a flow here. So we find that stable quality of warrior 2, and then we can bring the right arm and slide it down the right leg and lift up and just reverse the warrior. And then we can come back to warrior 2. You may want to fold that left forearm and then guide it gently down towards the left thigh. Reach overhead with that right arm. Lift up and out of the waist. Coming back to your warrior 2. Reverse. Side angle. So we're just flowing here, working it out. Guided by breath. Inhale, lifting up and out of the waist. From here, we will straighten that left leg. Bring the hands to the hips and then dial both toes towards that short edge of the mat. So that back right heel will lift, can bend into the left knee, and hopefully you have your blocks. We'll find the blocks here. Hands to the blocks. So we're just going to rock forward and back. We're coming up into some variations of warrior 3, and then just giving an opportunity to open into half moon pose. So I like that momentum. You can lift up that back right leg. Adjust your stance as you need to, lifting up the back right leg. And there's so many movements within this alone. So just bringing that right knee in and then extending. Right knee in and extending. Maybe holding on the extension and just working through the opening of the hip. So bringing the left hand to a block, right hand to the hip. And this may be your half moon tonight. So from this warrior 3 position, opening your hip. Lifting the arm if that's calling. Find any expression of the poses or the transition of poses that we're just being offered. And allow the breath to move through. So supported balance, lots of strength through the legs tonight. Always keeping the gaze down towards something that doesn't move to help with balance. Half moon to warrior 3, and then release the feet. Take a full forward fold. Shake your head. Shift it out from side to side. And then just roll up very slowly. Standing, may want to shift your props for the other side. And we're moving back into that wider stance with our feet, rocking forward and back, tiptoes, heels lift, heels down, toes lift. Working our way into warrior two on the right. So taking the right foot and pointing it towards the short edge of your mat on the opposite side and finding the flexion in the right knee. So always like to move around a bit. So flex and extend and just check your stance. See what works for you. Inhale, arms come up. Palms can press. Warrior two. Breathe in through the fingers. Extend that breath through the arms into the heart space and then down through the feet and into the earth. Take your time reversing your warrior. Warrior two, find your side angle with that right forearm to the right thigh. Keep everything light and flowing. Keep the breath moving through. Just notice how things feel different from side to side. Inhale, both arms come up. We'll straighten that right leg, hands to hips. Taking a moment to dial the toes towards the short side of the mat. Find your blocks or your props and use some momentum to kick up that back right leg. So this is a great pose right here, supported warrior three, just finding that flexion through the left knee and then the extension of the left leg. Maybe that left hand comes to the left hip and we open the hips to the left, beginning in this warrior three pose and then shifting into our half moon pose. Half moon prep. Just notice how things feel. And find the full expression of your pose. Half moon back to warrior three. Both feet down on the mat. And just take a moment in your forward fold. You may want to bend in the legs, just shift it out. Right to left. Left to right. Unravel slowly. Coming back to our standing position. Circle out through the wrists and the ankles. And then we'll bring the props towards the front of the mat. You can take a long side stretch here, as we did in our five-pointed star, still with the feet wider than the hips. And this time we'll bring some cooling energy in by folding forward with wider legs. So let's begin here just by rolling the shoulders back. Gaze can come up. Just find an extension to the spine. Exhale. As you come forward, just take a pause with the torso facing the mat and then bring a slight flexion in the knees. Find the strength there. Arms can extend out to the side. Arms can extend forward. Just feel the strength in the back of the body. And then release the hands. You can stack up your blocks. And widen out the feet a little bit more. Just find some connection to the forehead, Take a few rounds of breath here to bring it all together. So 5 to 8 whole body breaths. A lot of movement tonight, really highlighting the low body, bringing in some warmth, fire into the muscles, but also balancing it out with the coolness of the breath. Two or three more rounds here. If your palms are on the mat, you may want to activate through the fingertip pads and just slowly lift the wrists and the palms and then lower them like we did earlier when we were in that hands and knees position. Just raising the palms and then lowering them. Another option is just to come into tented fingers, activate through the arms, and then slowly unpeel the forehead away from your props. Walk your hands towards the center of your body and bring a bend into the right knee and then into the left knee. So this side to side movement always reminds me of a crab walking. So I always think about this as a crab walk. So the hands can walk towards the right foot. As we bend into the right knee, walk the hands through center, over to the left side. This is a nice way to toe heel your feet in and moving from a wider leg position back into a squat. So this rocking it out from side to side where we lift the toes and come onto the heels, then lift the heels. Just give some mobility within the hips and the pelvis. If you want to take that more traditional yogic squat, elbows to the inner aspect of the knees, palms can press. Just feel that tension again. Right hand to left hand. You can slide a block underneath the pelvis. Use any supports and comforts within your practice tonight. Reaching the fingers down towards the mat. We'll slowly come up with the hips, walk the hands forward, raise the hips, hang in your forward fold. And then redirect yourself on your mat. So we're at the top of the mat, still in that forward fold. And then we'll walk the feet back into a downward dog. So we'll take one more downward dog stretch, and then we'll come onto the knees again. And lift up through the heels, activating through the toes, and then lowering. You can lift up through the heels, come all the way onto the toes again, and then drop both heels to the lower right corner of your mat. Inhale, center. Drop the heels to the lower left corner of your mat. Inhale through center, and then exhale through center. Slowly we'll bring the right knee down and then the left knee down. And whatever padding you had before, you may want to shift that back underneath the knees again. So blocks are nice to have on either side here. We're just going to come up into half camel and then give an option for full camel if you like. This is the action, of course, just coming up onto the knees, pressing down through the tops of the feet. You can always roll a blanket or a bolster if you feel like you need a lifted feet, but just this movement here, lifting and lowering, lifting and lowering. So we're just going to add the arms, or you can reach back for a block. So set those up. I like to bring my right hand to either the block or the right heel, and then just slowly sweep this left arm in front of the body and lift the left arm up as I lift the upper body up. So finding a stretch here, and then sweeping the left arm down and switching out. So left hand to the block or the heel, sweeping the right arm in front, finding that lift through the torso and through the hips, and then just working it out from side to side. Just moving at your own pace. Keep going side to side, or when you're down, next time you're down, both hands can find the heels or the blocks, and you can lift up through the whole torso. When you're ready to release, we're walking the forearms forward and hanging the head heavy. It's nice to hold the head in your hands. So the right hand to the right side of your head, the left hand to the left side of your head. The thumbs just sort of extend back beyond the ears. Just give a gentle press here. Maybe the fingertips touch through the center line, the very top of the head. Slowly releasing the hands, walking the hands forward, crossing at the ankles, and just take a moment to think about how you would like to bring the spine to the mat. Rock and rolls are always my favorite, but just lowering down, bringing yourself to the center of the mat, and maybe even taking a moment to shake out the legs. You can just lower down with the forearms. You can bring some rock and rolls in. I'm feeling like I've done enough today, so I'm just gonna bring it on down to the mat, to the floor. Shift it out through the hips. Just a couple more cooling stretches through the low body, and then we'll take a couple minutes for rest, Shavasana. Pelvic tilting is nice. Shifting through the hips. Keeping the knees bent. Let's bring the right knee in. You can hold on to the front of the right knee. And just as we did earlier when we were in that whole low lunge series, the dragon lunge, we gently allowed the hip and the knee to open to the side. Just see if you would like that right hand to support that leg. A few rounds of breath here. Maybe bringing that knee and hip back in alignment. And then the right foot down. And then bringing the left knee in, holding onto the front of the left knee. And softly allowing this left hip and left knee to fall into the left hand. So knee to chest, such a great cooling pose, right and then left. Then opening up into this external rotation can guide us into a lying squat, right? So we've done a lot of squats tonight. activating through the legs and the hip and the pelvis. Maybe that right knee will pop up. So now we have some time to rock it out. Right hand to right knee, left hand to left knee. The arms can come to the insides of the legs, maybe holding on to the ankles. Take a moment to extend the legs up so the soles of the feet are parallel to the ceiling, just like we did in that foot press in hands and knees pose. You can either hold on to the ankles or maybe the first two fingers will hook onto the great toes. From here, the soles of the feet are still reaching, pressing the ceiling, but you have that little bit of spine below the lumbar curve that's pressing down. So activating through the lower abdominal muscles just to make that action happen. So that's your sacrum pressing down, full flexion through the hips. Then you can rock from side to side here, maybe getting onto the shoulders. Releasing the hands, bringing the knees together and dropping the knees to one side. Opening up the opposite arm. Some spinal twisting here, just for a breath or two. Knees come back through center and then drop to the opposite side, opening through the other arm. Knees come back up through center. Take any final stretch that would feel good to complete your practice tonight. Maybe it's just a reach of the arms up overhead, an extension of the legs. No sweater or sweatshirt or socks may be needed tonight, but perhaps some extra supports, blanket, bolster underneath the knees or the thighs. Or if you have the luxury of a couch, you can just shift yourself around and allow your legs to rest on the cushion of the couch, or you can allow your legs to extend on a wall. Just use what you have in your space. Maybe pick something that you haven't done before. We'll take a few minutes here just to seal in our practice, the stillness and the quiet. The only sound we hear will be our breath and the environment that we're in. Slowly begin to deepen your breath. Maybe bringing the hands to the low belly, feeling the breath move through the body. And allow the breath to reawaken the fingers and the toes. The wrists and the ankles. The knees, the elbows, the shoulders, and the hips. Take a moment on the side of the body. Feeling into the benefits of your practice. In your own time, or roll up to seated. If it feels safe and comfortable, you can keep the eyes closed. Bring the hands together, palm to palm, or stack the hands over the heart space. And just bow here and thank yourself for your practice. Thank yourself for the time that you carved out to move and breathe and meditate. Just bringing in that quality of what awareness and alignment and awakening mean to you. So we began the class with Surya Bhedan, Sun Awakening, Chandra Bhedan, Moon Awakening. We have this beautiful full moon and lunar eclipse tonight. It's all about the alignment of the sun and the moon and the earth. But I took some time to purposefully change up our alignments tonight in class, just to remind you that life and our day-to-day actions are never a straight line, right? We always kind of shift and move, and there's always obstructions and distractions and things that can get away. So just bring it on back and know that that's the path and that's what feels good in the moment. And you got to go with it sometimes. So as we close practice tonight, I just really want to send out a huge thank you for showing up for this space and really connecting in with what community means, which is connection and care and kindness and compassion for one another. May we all have peace in our minds and peace in our hearts.